Hello and welcome to newsnumber.com, and I am your host Ankurdeep Kaur. Today I am here in Chandigarh with my guest Poonam Singh, an education consultant and owner of The Study Inc., who has immense experience working in the education management industry. She helps her students in finding their calling and achieving their academic goals at premier universities and colleges. We are here with Poonam Singh and some of her friends and clients. So let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome to newsnumber.com. And since you are all friends with Poonam, I would like you to introduce her. How did you guys meet?
Um, I got to know Poonam through another friend of ours, a common friend, and we were all taken away by her language. That was the first thing that was stuck in our minds, and it was a brilliant meeting. And thereafter, we got to know each other more closely. We visited her at home and saw her beautiful collection of artwork, was spellbinding. And then as we got to know each other, I got to know that she was a counselor. She was working counsel kids. So I thought when my daughter was visiting, I said, Anna, let me take you to a friend of mine who is excellent. You would love her. And Anahat was in 12th at that time, actually 11th. So it seemed perfect. They got along like a house on fire, and she was just a brilliant mentor for her.
Even you have been her client or your son, I guess.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
So I'm at an inauguration of a friend's store, and that, as she said, we just found her language, and the moment she told me about that, she's been counseling kids and helps them plan their decisions to for future. So that is when I was already enrolled with another institute for my son, but I was not too happy, so I took an appointment from her, and I came along with my wife, and we discussed on that the hardship we were facing with the other institute, and plus my son was also not too happy going there. So then, probably I think what we understood was that he's a little different child, and he wants education to come or this counseling to come his way. So that is where she was very helpful, and now like I think they are very close friends, and probably whatever insights he would be sharing with her, he doesn't share with us. So I think that's the kind of bond she's able to generate with every kid who comes here to ma'am. But of course, I would say that this year is so important in life, which probably she helps us as parents with, because this is going to set the ball rolling for our children for years and maybe for life to come. So that way, she's been very helpful, very kind to us.
What hardships did you face with the other institute in which you enrolled your
Yeah,
child?
firstly, one-on-one interaction. It's like more of a bunch of kids, and it's like how any other commercial institutes are, wherein ठीक है मतलब बच्चे आ रहे हैं बच्चे जा रहे हैं, there is no connect, मतलब nobody tries to understand how is one kid different from another. And another reason was that I'm already a part of we're setting up a university here called Laksha, which is a tech university. So I was already talking to a lot of faculty and attending a couple of programs. So I exactly knew that how education overseas is how it's different from here, and my son ideally wanted that kind of education. So I think the personal touch and plus with her intellect and the kind of knowledge she had, that made all the difference. Because all other places, like how you go to coaching centers, there's a bunch of pieces, चाल बच्चे बैठे हैं and lectures चल रहे हैं, but then nobody even dares to ask their problems also. उनको लगता है कि what will the others feel. So I think all those things make all these commercial institutions very different. So I think this one-on-one, whether it is maybe a coaching for a subject or counseling for your career, anything which will have a personal touch and you'll have that kind of bonding wherein the child can also open up and you can also suggest freely, and बच्चे को पता है कि okay, this is going to remain between just me and her or me and him. So they also try open up. They will share where I want to go. So like my son was very clear what he wants to do, where he wants to go, and she helped him probably take the best decisions, and we make the right choices.
So she knows how to keep the secrets, right?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, let's hear your story now.
We met many years back. So Poonam was doing something, in my son's school, after school activity. And I think after a week, 10 days, I went to meet the teacher who was, doing this activity. And we met. And usually, he used to get into a lot of trouble in school because he had a very low attention span. And he didn't get into trouble for a week. That's why I actually went to meet the teacher, because usually I'd get a note or something, and I didn't. So I wanted to know whether, how he was doing. And when I went and met her, she was like a breath of fresh air. It was amazing talking to her. I was shocked by the kind of insight she had into, the child's psyche. And it's just gotten better from there. My son's always reached out to Poonam if he's wanted to talk to someone about stuff that he doesn't want to talk to me. And they've had, they've gone out. They have a social life together. I mean, they're buddies.
So do Prancha and I.
Yeah, they're buddies. So it's nice to know. And she's an adult. So, it helps as a friend to know that if he needs to reach out and it's not a parent, then it's, a friend.
Yes, it's someone very reliable.
Yeah.
Yes.
But incidentally, Vanya and I get along like a house on fire.
My daughter also now started coming to her. So
Okay, so let's start with a very basic question. People do not know the difference between mentoring and counseling.
So when you talk about, there are two kinds of counseling. It could be something to do with, let's say, if you have a psychological issue or there's something that's bothering you. And then there is counseling for the direction in which you want your life to go in. And you might not know which direction. And I also feel that at 14, 15, 17, you're not supposed to know that. So when I counsel, and when I say counseling, it is basically to help you zero in on your own internal mechanism of figuring out what is it that I enjoy doing? What do I want to do? And if it's not fluid and if it's not happening right away, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen 5 years down the line. So to give them that comfort to say it's all okay. I think that's, to me, is counseling. When you know that when you leave my office, that there's a sense of feeling that it's all okay. And, I will find something to do and it'll be fine. There's no urgency. So to me, that is counseling, and it's not in any dictionary. And when I say mentoring, to me, mentoring is about finding that awesome quality in you, helping you find that and taking pride in it, owning it, and making something out of it. Because no two children are alike. You might be brilliant at math and be terrible at music. So you have different intelligences. Am I then not going to understand and look at those intelligences and tell you, you should leverage that you have a life with that, and to take pride in that? And it's funny how, Ankur, from that place, you get on to have a huge sense of self-confidence is built. The ability to recognize that, hey, I'm different and it's all good. So to me, mentoring is helping you find that self-esteem, that self-confidence, and that faith in your own intelligence.
Right, so there is no definition.
There's no definition there too.
True. So is this counseling thing concerned with the family as well?
Yes. I think parents also need to be counseled. You might have aspirations for your children. And I think we've all done it. I've done it as a parent. You live vicariously through your children. मैंने ये नहीं किया, तो मेरा बच्चा ये करेगा. Okay? It's not fair. You need to understand that. I came last in my class, but my son has to come first. And there's a lot of peer pressure among parents. They are very, very competitive. We have these tiger moms who didn't do anything much with their lives, but their children have to be rock stars. I mean, he has to be a Schumacher if he's driving, he has to be a Sampras or a Nadal if he's doing tennis. And to even tell the parents, I mean, recognize that your child needs help from you also. So sometimes you need to tell parents, take a step back. And invariably, because you don't back down, I think parents kind of are able to navigate that space. I think everybody needs help. And because I am the outsider, I'm a lot more objective. I can see stuff that's going on. Sometimes you see a crazy dynamic and you're like telling everybody, hey, calm down, it's all good, and everybody will be fine. And like I said, sometimes my counseling sessions will last for about up to 4 hours. And when everybody leaves, it's like everybody's heaving a sigh of relief. It's like the dad's okay, the mom's okay. Sometimes there's a little kid who's also there and I'm looking at them saying, you'll also be okay. And the kid who's being counseled is also okay because he's gone away feeling that we are now all on the same page. And I think it's very important for parents to be on the same page. And I also need to know what their aspirations are. It's fair because, you want to give your child the best. And so it matters what you have to say. I might have the last word, but it matters what you have to say.
Exactly. Did you and your children come together for a counseling session? Any memory that you would like to share, which made a difference?
Yes, absolutely. So my daughter was studying in school in the US. So when she was going to prepare for her ACT and SAT, I told her, I said, let's go over to Poonam and I want you to be counseled by her. And if you like her, you can carry on. She was not very clear about what she wanted to do because she had interest in 3 or 4 different fields. So sometimes she wanted to be an interior designer, and the other option was she was a great sports person. So she wanted to be in fitness. She wanted to be in business. She wanted to fix businesses, go in there and fix a business and step out. And so there were different aspects. And what Poonam did was she sat with her. She asked her what, slowly brought her to the understanding that she probably wants to do business. She wants to study entrepreneurship. Once that was decided, and I was a lot, there with Anahat during her counseling sessions, but I would, leave them alone so that she could counsel her one-on-one. And because I wanted my daughter to have that space with Poonam, whom I trusted absolutely. And what it did for both of them, more so for Anahat, is that she got to know herself, because a lot of times when we are asking questions or we are being asked questions, we are actually answering them. Things that we do know deep inside of us, they just come out. So it really helped her. So here was a classic case of where she was mentoring and counseling Anahat to come to a decision, like what did she really want to do. And then thereafter, it was finding the right schools. So how she laid it out was very beautifully. It was 3 dream schools, 3 read schools, and 3 safe schools. So the 3 dream schools were obviously the ones that she wanted to get into. The reach and safe were, in case something happened and she didn't get into her dream school, that she was prepared for the other 2 choices that we had. So there were about 10 schools that they were looking at. Okay. And the wonderful thing was that Anahat got into 2 of her dream schools, which was Baylor in Waco, Texas, and Temple in Philadelphia. And then there was another big decision. So before she got into these schools, we went to each of the schools to visit them. We went to Babson, which is very famous for entrepreneurship. So at every step, Poonam was guiding her. I mean, she lived in the US. There is no way you could get this kind of counseling in the US. So it was a dream come true for her and for us as parents, because we learned so much in the entire process. So once, it was it was Baylor or Temple. The big decision was, where does Anna want to study? Of course, Baylor was number 4 and Temple was, I think, number 7. So Texas is a much smaller place, and Anahat wanted to study in a place where there was a lot of diversity, there was a lot of research, and Temple is known for it's a research school. It's known all over the world. So even making that decision, the most important decision is, which school should I pick finally, now that I'm in 2 of my favorite schools. I mean, we as parents stepped back, and it was between Anahat and Poonam. And, Anahat talked it out with her, and it was numerous phone calls from the US to her. She was always there for her. Finally, she decided to go to Temple, and she's exceedingly happy,
Because, Ankur, it's 4 years of your life. And so if you don't enjoy that college, or it doesn't fit with all your aspirations, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable. So you have to be very careful. And like I was saying, you have to know which minors you also want to take, in case you need to flip some years down the line. You're not going back to the drawing board. It's almost like you're taking a fillip forward.
So, Poonam, there are so many other counselors out there in the market who guarantee student success, and even the success rate is high. How do you think you are different from them?
First off, I am not a sweatshop. And that is not my market, if I can call it a market. I do this because I really enjoy it. And so there's only so much energy, emotion that you have, that you want to invest in something like this. And like I said, you're building a relationship. You're actually watching this kid become something. And trust me, they grow. They think differently. They become different people. You can't do that with 30 people in a room. And since like I said, it's very personal. I say it's bespoke. So it's only that many. So even if I'm doing like a workshop, it's never more than 3 kids. And so even if I'm editing their work, it's intense. I will look at every word, every line, and I will tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then make suggestions. I make suggestions. So there are no wrong answers. There are good answers, and there are answers that are better. So, and you can't do that if you're a sweatshop. And I'm not looking to, how should I put it? I'm not looking to be a sweatshop. I like what I do. I like the interaction. I mean, look at these people here. How do you build that in a sweatshop? You don't get that. So to me, this is very important.
Right.
I still remember when Anahat was writing her essay, and she must have called Poonam so many times to edit her essay, because she's a perfectionist. So something was not right, and she would just call her, can you help me? I don't think this seems to be the right way to do it, and what word should I use, or what do you think? And so it was always, like she said, suggestions. So here is a complete experience, which is so hard to come by. Absolutely. In the education industry, I mean, we call it industry. We capitalize everything. And here is bespoke education, how it should be.
So everything is personalized and tailored.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And so when you say that you help students find their hook, what do you mean?
So here's the thing, we all have a voice, right? There are lots of writers out there. Everybody writes in their own language, in their own idiom. And that's why you read so many authors, because if everybody wrote the same way, there's no point. So when I say find your own voice, to find that one thing about you that you love about yourself, and you take that and then you write that essay. That is your USP. And we come from that space, and crazily from that one idea, let's say I recognize this one thing about myself. After everything you've talked about yourself, you say, I am humble. So then I know, hey, This is it. I know how to approach all his essays. I know what we want to do. I know where he's going to fit in and what kind of a college environment he's going to fit in. Because colleges have mission statements and vision statements. And if I know, then again, but the hook is also about what sport you're playing. I know then I have a combination and I know where you have to go. And then our researches begin. And then we work together on every little thing. And so it's an intense process.
This requires structuring of your profiles, and this is what you do.
Yes, yeah. Again, with the profile, I mean, no two children are alike. So let's say, for example, you want to be an entrepreneur, like Anahat wanted to be an entrepreneur. Then if I have to structure that profile, I'm going to make suggestions as to what you can do. How can you leverage an interest? Because that matters. It matters about, as far as the college that you're going to is concerned. So if you're going to engineering college, I will not suggest, that you do a fashion project. I'm going to say, do an engineering project or do a research paper. And how do you do those research papers? Where do you go? Who do you tap into? And so once you come up with something, then I'm going to say, okay, let's do it this way. And so at every stage, there's a sort of a wetting to see where it's going from here. And that takes a lot of time, Ankurdeep. It's like, yeah.
Basically, you shape a child. You give shape to them. And what is the age group that one should approach you?
I would say that I help them become the best versions of themselves. So I don't really shape them in that sense. I help them find that. That is the hook. I help them find that and take huge pride in it. So I wouldn't say shape them. I would say like help them become the best versions of themselves in every which way that they can.
Okay, and what about the age group?
Again, because of what I do and in the kind of questions that are asked, it requires a certain level of maturity. In any case, they do become mature by the time they leave me. They start to think differently. So you have to have a certain bandwidth to be able to ask those questions. So I would look at somebody as early as class 9, they would come to me. Though last year I had somebody come to me who was in class 7, and I told the parents, why don't you wait? And they were like, no, we are not going to wait. We want to come already. So I was like, okay. So I think the young lady is a very, very mature young lady right now. So it's kind of interesting, yeah.
What are the different components in a college application process?
So there are one of many. Let me just talk about a few. If you're especially because my forte is the U.S., especially if you're going to the U.S. Firstly, the process it's a process. It's intense. It takes a year. Once you know where you want to go and what you want to do, it's zeroing in on the colleges, on the parameters of where they are, whether it's an urban, whether you want to go to a rural, how should I put it, a campus, a rural campus or a suburban campus or a city campus. What kind of weather? What kind of sport do you play? What kind of extracurricular activities other than sport do you want to engage in? What kind of student-to-teacher ratio do you want? Do you want to go to a university that's like almost like a city with 60,000 students? Or do you want to be in a university with 15,000 or 5,000 or maybe even 2,000? Are you looking to do research? Are you looking for innovation? Are you looking to be able to get an internship while you're in college? Are you trying to do a co-op program? Do you want to become a teaching assistant? So there are various parameters. And depending on what the child's interest is, we find the best possible combination.
Is essay writing an important aspect?
Oh, it's huge. So let's say, every year, people who want to go to Harvard, Harvard would have, let's say, 40,000 applications. Now, all those 40,000 applications are Harvard applications. Academically, as far as the SAT, the ACT goes, and as far as the myriad extracurriculars that you've done. A typical Harvard profile would be this guy who's working in DARPA, or they've studied at the UN, or somebody's even written a book, or researched cancer. So then, what is it that distinguishes you from this 40,000? It is that hook, that voice, it is your essay. what you have to say about yourself. And so that is why it's hugely important, because not every university is able to interview you, to know about you. So there are, I mean, you have there about 30 odd essays that you write when you go to the US, and each one of them is intense. And so how do you write that? So how do I get you to think so as to bring every experience that you've had into your writing? What you read, what you thought, what you felt, where you traveled, the painting that you saw, the food that you ate, the holiday that you went on, the people that you've met. How does all of it come together to make this one essay that is a representation of all your collective experiences and relationships? Right. So yeah, that's why it's hugely important.
What about the emerging careers?
So let's say in the sciences today, you have ontological engineering, which is now looking at how data systems are going to be structured. Or we're looking at nanotechnology in the areas of construction, let's say, for example, or in the areas of new telephones. Or then we're looking at the whole way aerospace engineering is becoming hugely different. Again, there are disciplines that overlap. So you can't be an aerospace engineer today without being a mechanical engineering, so doing mechanical engineering. So how do these overlap? How do you leverage doing one or the other? In terms of the environmental sciences, there's in public policy, there's international law, there's jurisprudence, there's social justice, there's gender studies. And today, more and more people are doing gender studies because again, if you're looking at that whole, this racist thing, or you're looking at gender equality, or you're looking at this whole conversation around different genders or different sexes, there are studies now. And they are going to be important in the future. Or even the way marketing is going to be done. And it's more so after this whole COVID thing. It's going to be personalized. So they're already looking on social media marketing, how are we going to personalize a marketing experience for you? If you want to buy a pair of shoes from, let's say, Nike, how does Nike make that personalized for you? So Nike has this data, which again, the whole data mining, data forensics, for example, who people are going to be stealing all your data, how are you going to leverage
data
that?
Science or big data, basically.
Big data, absolutely. Right. And then we talk about the Internet of Things. Where do you think that's going? So when we talk about the Internet of Things today, we are also talking about how the Internet is this new space in which we are living. So then psychology. So then behavioral psychology, in terms of even economics, you have behavioral economics, you have sustainable economics. So it's all changing. You have gig economies, like suddenly now with the COVID thing that you have, a small little economy comes up. Right. And you can work with that. So how do you ideate then? How do you think to do stuff? So all of that, those emerging careers, help them to think, to say, okay, maybe I can do this. Gaming, for example, today, it's huge. So around gaming, what are the things that we can do?
Right.
So you have industry and then you have activity. So I choose an industry. Let's say I want to be in FMCG. What is the vertical that I want to work in? Do I want to work in the marketing vertical? And then how do I do that? Do I want to work in the manufacturing vertical? Do I want to work in the research vertical? So you have industry and then you have activity. So you map it like that. So,
and now, along with industry, we have COVID-19.
That's true.
Yes. And how is it affecting students who want to go overseas for studies?
So in the interim, because nobody really knows, everybody is groping as to where they're going to go. But I think it'll be a hybrid thing. You cannot not have the whole classroom experience. I don't see children going to a virtual classroom in school. You have to have a hybrid model where you do some stuff online and you do some of it on campus, because it's all about the human connect. Can't take that away. It's very sterile when you're doing something on FaceTime. So schools are going to have to. That's where you make your friends. That's where you learn how to be empathetic or to emote, to have relationships. So it's not going to go away. It's just transitioning. And the kids who are not going right now will go the minute things settle down. And it'll be online and offline. So, I wouldn't say that it's only going to be online.
So you have workshops for them now.
Yes, I do. And then
And
again,
what
like
do
I
you
said, just to
intend?
create this whole intimate space, never more than 3.
Okay. So what do you intend to teach them through your workshops? Is it just the essay writing or everything on the whole?
So there is the essay writing is to
Right.
do with essay writing, and we talk about the different kinds of writing and the different kind of essays. How do you leverage language? How do you make uncommon parallels and all of that? And then if I'm talking about etiquette, what is the etiquette that we need in these times? And I think young people need that a lot. And then if I'm doing intellectual ability building, then it is to say, how do you connect the dots between the sciences, between the arts, between commerce, between sociology and anthropology? Where do you connect the dots? So let's say I give you a poem by this poet called Janos Polinsky. It's called Van Gogh. And so you read the poem. I'm not going to ask you what era it was from. You read it, you tell me how you feel about it. What do you think he's saying? And then what painting of Van Gogh does this poem remind you of? So not only are you doing literature, you're also doing art. And somewhere in the poem, you get a sense of the history of the times. So you're doing history. And then I will tell you what era. And then in terms of the history, what were the economics during that time? What kind of things were happening in the economic sphere? And what kind of social hierarchy was active? So, do we want to build, hierarchical societies, or do we want to build egalitarian societies? So that's the conversation that actually happens at the end of it. And then now I'm thinking of doing something with Shakespeare in English, which I think would be interesting, and also to do writers from the Indian diaspora. I'm a huge fan of Mahadevi Prasad Verma. I've read a lot of Sharad Chandra. I've read Premchand. Dinkar is one of my favorite poets, as is Harivansh Rai Bachchan. And so I think kids also need to be introduced to our own literature, and we have some fabulous writers. And also when I talk about English literature, you look at the writing that's happening across the world, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Japan, whether it's in Malaysia, whether it's in Czechoslovakia. Kids need to be introduced to that reading and writing. So for me, it's exciting to be now, I'm already doing the content for it, to be able to put it out there, again, for 3 to 4 kids who will see the benefit in it.
So you love quality rather
Yes, I do.
and not quantity, right?
Absolutely.
And you all have been with her in the journey from a lot of years, I guess. And where do you think she will be in near future?
Where she will be?
Yes, in
She'll be
future.
mentoring children all her life. That's her first love. She's got that connect with children. I think counseling or not counseling, for the financial aspect of it. With Poonam, she has a connect with, the young adult, which doesn't stop any time. It goes on forever because it's a young relationship which builds into their adulthood and it carries on. So I see her doing this all her life. She's really really committed to this. I feel she doesn't let the child you know lose focus. At the same time, uh, help themselves figure out what they want to do. And then she sees the results, and the parents see the result, and the child after a few years turns around and probably gives her friendship and respect, which is which is huge in terms of understanding that what I did was right. So I see her doing this for a very long time.
Okay. So what is actually your larger goal for the Study Inc.?
I think Shilpa's pretty much summed it. I think the way I see studying become this platform where kids come and explore the whole expanse of what it means to be educated. not to be academically qualified, but to be educated. So when you walk into a room and you open your mouth, you're comfortable talking about so many different things and intelligently. You're able to connect these dots and intelligently. And to have, my other big thing is to put a premium here. This, what is between your ears. Find that voice. Find your unique voice. Have an opinion or have a perspective. I think it's very important to have a perspective. Everybody's like in a herd. You all think alike. You're afraid to be your own person because you get judged or whatever. But I've found that the kids that I've been with are able to hold their own. And to me, that is amazing. So, and I keep telling them, walk into a room and open your mouth and have people say, oh my God. Doesn't matter what you're wearing. Doesn't matter, what you have. But have that conversation where it leaves people wanting more.
She increases the emotional quotient. So, they can hold on to their own.
So that's what I want to do. And to have a lot more people like that, to have like this really cool, intellectual set of kids who are not about the money, who are about, I am doing this well, the money will come. Because Ankur, even a beggar earns.
Right.
So it's not about earning, it's about doing something and the money will come. So that's the place I want them to be.
I think where the connect really comes from is that she doesn't treat anyone, a child, like a child. She treats them like an adult who has his own capacity and capability to think. And that's where the relationship gets forged, into a beautiful, a very strong one where they don't feel judged at all. A lot of times is, we are always telling our children to behave a certain way, minding themselves, we have aspirations for them, which is so wrong. But here is a mentor who just takes them the way they are and embraces their uniqueness, and she treats them, as an adult from day one.
I thought I would ask a question about recommending her, but I think she does not need any recommendation.
Thank you, Ankur.
Right.
Thank you so much. That's a nice thing to say.
No, because I think recommendation is not something which probably is required by any genius, because that thing always flows. And I think it's about your own product that you kind of help the parents. And I strongly feel that, like ma'am also said, this career counseling or this mentoring, people normally just flip to academics. Wherein, like when I also went to boarding, I remember our principal also telling our parents that all those who are got their children here for just education or studies, please take them away. There is like all-round development. So I think her role is first to get the best out of the child. Maybe we think that we've got a Superman at home, but probably she's going to tell us that probably it's not that way. We want him to go to Harvard or Stanford, but she would say probably I think he's going to the best if he's probably somewhere in Delhi. So that, to identify that and to also counsel the parents to realize that what's the best for our own child, that is what is most important. And just it's not about picking up the right subjects, or it's about you got to make the right choices on how to take your life forward. So academics is just a part of it. Like there could be other 10 important things which probably hold the same space. So I think this myth has to get out of the parents' minds first, and then probably the kids also. That we come to a counselor for to decide on a university. It's not university; it's a part of your life. And I'm as it is, like for the last 3 months feeling this online education is disrupting everything. Because the mental health is going to go away of the kids. Like today, I feel my strength is I went to a boarding school, the kind of network I have, my friends. Now, if they don't experience all that, and it's going to be just morning up, get up in the morning, you just wear your t-shirt, you don't even need to take a bath, you just in front of the camera, and you switch off the camera, you say, "Ki, ma'am, mera signal nahi aa raha," and there's so many things you can do. So that's not the way I would at least want life to carry on for the kid. So that is where I would say that counseling is very, very important to bring the best out of them in every aspect, and let the academic part be the last also. I'm very happy with that,
Right.
because they have to be good human beings first, and then probably, and confident first, then to probably be having a degree of, this is what we did, or this, because end of the day, it's about your persona that matters. It's not about what you studied. I've seen a lot of people who have probably had the best academic background, but they hardly can present themselves the way probably others can, who are like much less qualified.
Hmm.
That's where your emotional quotient comes in.
Yeah.
You know, empathy as a human being.
Right.
That only comes with interaction and the right. We always look up to that one teacher who made our lives. No matter where we are, which stage of life we are, we'll always remember that one teacher who inspired us. And I think she is that one teacher, undoubtedly.
But I don't teach.
I mean, yeah,
I'm just
mentor,
kidding.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Here I disagree. The difference is that I agree she doesn't teach. She doesn't teach, let's say, a maths or a English or a history. She teaches life. So that is what is the most important subject, which probably lot many others don't do that. So if you can understand life, and you can probably start to enjoy that journey, because normally it's always kids feel that "Oof, ye nahi karna," it's an effort, and they feel the kind of stress for that. But if you start enjoying it, then anything and everything is possible.
Right. Right. So you are doing something which not everyone can do. It needs real talent and passion. I must say that.
Thank you, uncle.
And you're doing something really great. I came to know about this thing in just this conversation, so I can think what your students might be thinking about you. You are an inspiration for them, I think, because I read some of the reviews from your rockstar students, and I think they really love you for what you have done for them. And all the best for your the study Inc.
Thank you.
and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
So this is me, Ankurdeep Kaur, signing off, but you stay tuned to newsnumber.com.